Welcome students. This is Geneo live classes learn session. Today I will talk about the constitutional design. Constitution, संविधान, ये नाम तुम बहुत बार सुने हो। हमारे देश किसी लॉज के सेटअप से चलता है। अब ये लॉज कैसे बने? How did these laws being made? So let's proceed with the class. Let's proceed with the class. Shall we? This is, before starting the class, let me give you a small technical advice. This is the question answer box. Click this box and ask me all the questions that you have regarding social and political life, regarding this particular chapter. This is the raise your hands button. Click this button to raise your hands. This is the leave webinar button. Click this button at the end of the session to leave the webinar. Now, this is social and political life. We're talking about the design of the constitution. I am Shukriya Bose, your mentor. Before starting with the constitution, let me ask you a question. What do you think is a constitution? What is a constitution? Well, constitution तो बहुत मतलब होते हैं constitution की. You can define the constitution any way you like. You see, constitution is basically the fundamental laws on which the country works. एक देश कैसे चलता है? एक देश किसी रूल के आधार पे चलता है, किसी कानून के बिना पे चलता है एक देश. Isn't it so? A country works on the basis of some rules, right? A country works on the basis of some rules and regulations. Our country also works on the basis of some rules and regulations, isn't it so? That is called the constitution. That is the constitution. एक देश किसी rules और regulation के हिसाब से चलता है, वो है हमारा constitution. Now, if we define the word constitution, a constitution is an aggregate of the fundamental principles or established precedents that constitute the legal basis of a polity. एक political legal basis किसी भी देश का, जो legal, जो the rights, the laws of that country, the fundamental laws of the land are being written down in a constitution. किसी entity मतलब किसी आदमी या फिर किसी चीज, मतलब any entity, okay, anything. It can be a human being, it can be something else, any entity, okay. So this is the constitution. Now, before starting with the constitution, let's talk about the apartheid. The apartheid was one of the worst things that happened in South Africa, with the people of South Africa. Here, the people were hugely discriminated on the basis of color. लोगों को रंग के हिसाब से discriminate की जाती थी. Yes, what I have shown is a part of the preamble. Yeah. Segregation मतलब लोगों को अलग करना. ठीक है. देखो, मैं ये पूरा स्टोरी बताता हूँ, तुम ध्यान से सुनो. क्या होता था? In South Africa, people were hugely discriminated on the basis of color. कलर के हिसाब से लोगों की discrimination होती थी. ठीक है. कलर के हिसाब से लोगों की hugely discrimination होती थी. जो काले लोग होते थे, the people who happened to be black in color were hugely discriminated by the people who were white in color. They were hugely discriminated. The people who were black in color didn't get the right to education. They didn't get the right to the doctors. ये अच्छे खासे doctors नहीं मिलते थे इन लोगों के पास. ठीक है. They didn't get the right to education. They didn't even get the rights to vote. Vote देने की भी rights इन लोगों को जिनके रंग काले होते थे, इन लोगों को voting देने की भी rights नहीं थी. Clear? Yes, in America also there had been some certain kinds of discrimination. वहाँ पे भी discrimination होता था. ठीक है. During the 17th and the 18th centuries, the trading companies from Europe occupied its arms. ये क्या हुआ students? जो 17th century था और 18th century था, यूरोप से बहुत सारे इंसान अफ्रीका में आगे बैठ गए. यहाँ पे इन लोगों के साथ जंग किया, बहुत सारी जंग हुई. And what happened? People captured the places of Africa. The people captured certain places of Africa. और क्या शुरू हुआ स्टूडेंट्स? ये यहाँ पे कैप्चर करके इन लोगों के सर के ऊपर रूल करने बैठ गए और शुरू हुआ इन लोगों की कानून. How they started to say that we are the European people, we are white skinned people, and we are superior to that of the black skinned people. We are much superior from the black skinned people. We are the white skinned people. Now you are the black skinned people, you will not be given any types of rights. कोई भी rights नहीं मिलेगा तुम लोगों को. Okay, to understand apartheid, let me show you a very video. Okay, let me show this beautiful video to you students. Just a second. Just a second. Let me show you this beautiful video. देखो, जरा देखो. Now let me introduce you to this beautiful platform. This is the Geneo platform. So what we have to do, we have to log in. Just log in and find out. Okay. So just log in and get into class 9. You see, ये platform हमेशा use करना students. Whenever you're studying, always use this platform. This platform is going to help you a lot. ये तुम लोगों को बहुत ही help करेगा students. बहुत ज़्यादा help करेगा. ठीक है? So log in and let's start with this video. You see why this platform is so important. This platform has everything that a student normally needs to study. बहुत सारी चीज़ है तुम लोगों के लिए स्टडी करने के लिए. अब हम शुरू करते हैं अफ्रीकन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के बाद. Let's start.
Apartheid was the name of a system of racial discrimination unique to South Africa. The white Europeans imposed this system on South Africa. The trading companies from Europe occupied it with arms and force in the way they occupied India. A large number of whites had settled in South Africa and became the local rulers. The system of apartheid divided the people and labeled them on the basis of their skin color.
The native people of South Africa have a dark skin color.
They made up about 3/4 of the population and were called blacks. There were people of mixed races who were called colored. The white rulers treated all non-whites as inferiors. The non-whites did not have voting rights. They could work in white areas only if they had a permit. Trains, buses, taxis, hotels, hospitals, schools and colleges, libraries, cinema halls, theaters, beaches, swimming pools, public toilets were all separate for the whites and blacks. This was called segregation. They could not even visit the churches where the whites worshipped. Blacks could not form associations or protest against the terrible treatment. Since 1950, the blacks, colored, and Indians fought against the apartheid system. They launched protest marches and strikes. The African National Congress, ANC, was the umbrella organization that led the struggle against the policies of segregation. This included many workers' unions and the Communist Party. Many sensitive whites also joined the ANC to oppose apartheid and played a leading role in this struggle. Several countries denounced apartheid as unjust and racist. The white racist government continued to rule by detaining, torturing, and killing thousands of black and colored people. This was Nelson Mandela being tried for treason by the white South African government. He and 7 other leaders were sentenced to life imprisonment in 1964 for daring to oppose the apartheid regime in the country. He spent the next 28 years in South Africa's most dreaded Robben Island prison. The government realized that they could no longer keep the blacks under their rule through repression. The white regime changed its policies and discriminatory laws were repealed. Ban on political parties and restrictions on the media were lifted. Nelson Mandela walked out of the jail as a free man after 28 years of imprisonment. The new national flag of the Republic of South Africa was unfurled, marking the newly born democracy in the world at the midnight of the 26th of April 1994. Nelson Mandela was the first president of this new South Africa. Black leaders appealed to fellow blacks to forgive the whites for the atrocities they had committed while in power. They said, "Let us build a new South Africa based on equality of all races and men and women, on democratic values, social justice, and human rights." The parties sat together to draw up a common constitution. They came out with one of the finest constitutions the world has ever had, after 2 years of discussion and debate. This constitution gave to its citizens the most extensive rights available in any country. The preamble to the South African Constitution sums up this spirit. The South African Constitution inspires Democrats all over the world. A state denounced by the entire world till recently as the most undemocratic one is now seen as a model of democracy.
Let us summarize what we've learned in this learning unit.
So, so we learned all about apartheid, right? Let's start with the class. Okay. So what happened in Africa, students? People who happened to be black, they were not given any facilities or rights. In लोगों को कोई facilities or rights नहीं दी जाती थी. These people were not given the smallest, the tiniest of the rights. कोई rights नहीं दी जाती थी. अगर एक locality में, समझो कि एक locality में सिर्फ और सिर्फ गोरे रहते हैं. There's a locality where only white people live. A black person won't be even allowed to live in that locality. Let's talk about it. What happened? During the 17th and the 18th centuries, the trading companies from Europe occupied it with arms and force and became the rulers of that land. The system of apartheid divided the people and labeled them on the basis of their skin color. तुम्हारी skin काला है, इसलिए तुम्हें इंसानों की तरह treat भी नहीं की जाती. The people who had black skin, they were not even treated like human beings. The white rulers treated the non-whites as inferiors. जो कि गोरे थे, जो कि सफेद रंग के थे अपने, मतलब you will find out that the most people in Europe are basically white people, white skinned people. Now what happened with them? They started to torture the people, the black people. They started to torture the black people. Yes, उसके बाद शुरू हुआ anti-apartheid movement. Yes, the black people were treated very, very badly. They were treated extremely like, they were just treated like animals. They couldn't go to the same church where the white people went. एक church पे white people और black people नहीं जाते. ठीक है. एक the black people were not even given the opportunity to live in a place where white people mostly live. Clear? So this is the problem that took place between the white people and the black people. The system of apartheid divided the people and labeled them on the basis of skin color. The white rulers treated the non-whites as inferiors. Okay, the non-whites did not have voting rights and were forbidden from living in white areas. काले लोगों को voting rights नहीं थी. वो vote देगा, ये voting rights नहीं थी. Government कैसे चलेगा, सरकार कैसे चलेगी, ये voting rights, yes, they were treated very badly. Okay, so what happened? They were treated very badly. They were not even given the chance to vote. Vote तो छोड़ी दो, एक जगह पे जहाँ पे white people रहता है, वहाँ पे black people allow नहीं की जाती. There were separate ambulances for the white people and the black people. The ambulances for the white people were filled with better medical facilities, बहुत सारी चीजें, best equipment थी वहाँ पे. पर जो ambulance black people के लिए था, वहाँ पे कोई equipment ही नहीं थी. So you see, you can understand clearly the difference between the black people and the white people. So the biggest difference is that they were not even given the right to vote in the country. Vote देना, जो कि एक देश की फंडामेंटल राइट्स होती है स्टूडेंट्स, दैट इज अ फंडामेंटल राइट ऑफ द कंट्री, राइट, टू गिव द वोट. Okay, but they were not even given the right to vote. The non-whites did not have voting rights and were forbidden from living in white areas. जहाँ पे white रहेंगे वहाँ पे black नहीं रह सकते. The places where white people will live, there the black people will not live. The blacks, colored and Indians fought against this apartheid system. अब क्या हुआ? एक वक्त के बाद लोग रिवोल्ट करना शुरू कर देते हैं हर जगह. They fought against this apartheid. कि हम इंसान हैं, we people, we are also human beings. Okay, treat us like human beings. You are white people, that doesn't mean that you are going to treat us like animals. Segregation का मतलब अलग करना. Segregation का मतलब है अलग करना. ठीक है? Segregation का मतलब है अलग करना. Now, the African National Congress was the umbrella organization that led the struggle against the policies of segregation. ये तब बन गया अफ्रीकन नेशनल कांग्रेस. ये अफ्रीकन नेशनल कांग्रेस ने क्या किया? ये एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जो कि इस सेग्रीगेशन के खिलाफ, इस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के खिलाफ, इस भेदभाव के खिलाफ लड़ना शुरू कर दिया. कि ये लोग ब्लैक है तो क्या हुआ? मे बी दीज पीपल आर ब्लैक, सो व्हाट? दे कैन बी ब्लैक बट दे नीड द बेसिक राइट्स. These people do need the basic human rights that a white people need. Clear? The African National Congress, अब इस नेशनल कांग्रेस में एक लीडर सामने आया. उस लीडर का नाम है नेल्सन मंडेला. That person was named Nelson Mandela and he led this anti-apartheid movement. He started to lead this anti-apartheid movement. Clear? He started to lead this anti-apartheid movement. The African National Congress was an umbrella among the eight who tried for treason by South African government. अब ये नेल्सन मंडेला जो ये सब काम कर रहा है, एंटी अपार्थाइड के लिए लड़ रहा है, he wants to abolish this apartheid system. Now what did the African government do? The African government, he imprisoned Nelson Mandela. नेल्सन मंडेला को जेल में कैद कर लिया गया. नेल्सन मंडेला को अब जेल में कैद कर लिया गया और 28 साल तक नेल्सन मंडेला को जेल में रखा गया. He was kept in prison for 28 days. He was kept in prison for 28 days. Can you imagine? He was kept in prison for 28 days. They were sentenced to life imprisonment in 1964 for daring to oppose the apartheid regime. इन लोगों को पूरी जिंदगी की imprisonment दिया गया था. ठीक है? Now, this man is Nelson Mandela. He fought against this apartheid. Okay. What is racial discrimination? देखो, racial discrimination एक discrimination है दो races के middle में. देखो, there are two races we can clearly see in Africa: the black people and the white people. अब इस black people और white people के बीच में जो भेदभाव किया जा रहा है, इसे कहा जा रहा है हमारा racial discrimination. जहाँ पे काले लोग और गोरे लोगों के बीच में discrimination की जा रही है. अच्छा, देखो, अफ्रीका में दो तरह के लोग थे, एक काले और एक गोरे. यहाँ पे रंग के हिसाब से भेदभाव की जाती थी. रंग के हिसाब से यहाँ पे भेदभाव की जाती थी. काले और गोरे को रंग के हिसाब से हमें भेदभाव देखनी पड़ती थी कि तुम लोग काले हो इसीलिए तुम्हें कोई फैसिलिटीज नहीं मिलने वाला, तुम्हें ठीक से स्कूल नहीं मिलने वाला, कोई हेल्थ केयर नहीं मिलने वाला, कुछ भी नहीं मिलने वाला, क्योंकि तुम्हारा सिर्फ रंग का कलर, तुम्हारा जो शरीर का रंग है वो काला है. That is called racial discrimination. The people who are from the race who happens to be black in color. Okay. Now comes the democratic constitution in South Africa. अब ये नेल्सन मंडेला को क्या हुआ? नेल्सन मंडेला, the South African leader of African National Congress, fought a long battle against apartheid. ये apartheid के खिलाफ एक बहुत बड़ी जंग लड़ना शुरू कर दिया. It's not technically a war. It was not a fight. You see, he made rallies. Okay, तो उसने आंदोलन शुरू कर दिया और उसे 28 साल की imprisonment हुई. कितने सालों तक imprisonment हुई स्टूडेंट्स? उसको 28 सालों तक imprisonment झेलनी पड़ी. People struggled against the horrible discrimination practices against them by the white minority rulers. क्या होता था? Yes, some people believed that white was superior. हाँ, इसीलिए ही तो ये discrimination होता था. Okay, for this reason the discrimination took place. Clear? Now, now, people struggled against the horrible discrimination practices by the white minority rulers. जो white ruler थे, जो गोरे थे, इसकी जो discrimination थी, इससे people, the black people were tired of. Okay, now apartheid, इस आंदोलन से apartheid ये ऐसी बड़ी आंदोलन हुई स्टूडेंट्स, इतनी बड़ी आंदोलन हुई अफ्रीका में, इस आंदोलन के लिए अपार्थाइड एक वक्त में खत्म हो गया. 1994 में 1994 में अपार्थाइड पूरी तरह से खत्म हो गया. Now in 1996 a new constitution was made, in which constitution people who belong to the white race or black race, कोई रेस की बात थी नहीं. 1996 की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, यहाँ पे गोरे हो या काले हो, कोई भी रंग का हो आदमी, उसे सम्मान दी जाएगी, उसे वोट करने की राइट्स दी जाएगी, उसे सारे राइट्स दी जाएगी, जो कि पहले अफ्रीका में नहीं था. This became the law in Africa after 1996. So the constitution of Africa was made in which year, students? अफ्रीका की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन किस साल बना? अफ्रीका की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन किस साल बना? किस साल अफ्रीका की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनी? Yes, 1996. Yes, 1996. Now, the black leaders appealed, followed black to white forgiveness. You see what happens? The black leaders appealed fellow blacks to forgive the white people. ये क्या हुआ? ये जो काले लोग थे, अपनी सरकार बनाने के बाद वो बदला लेने की नहीं सोचे स्टूडेंट्स. They didn't try to fight back. What did they do? They appealed to the black people that maybe they have done atrocities against us, maybe they have tortured us, maybe they have done so many things. But still, you forgive the white people. Let us live together in peace, in unity, in harmony. That is the way the black people decided to treat the white people. That let us live together. Let us live in equality. Let us live in harmony. Remarkable constitution forgot past sufferings, sought cooperation of all the races, which makes South Africa based on equality, democratic and social justice. देखो, बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स तो थे अफ्रीका में. जो गोरे लोग थे वो काले लोगों के ऊपर बहुत सारे टॉर्मेंट्स किए थे, एट्रोसिटीज किए थे, सारी चीजें किए थे. पर जब नई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनी, साउथ अफ्रीका नई तरह से बना, तो द ब्लैक पीपल्स डिसाइडेड टू फॉरगिव द व्हाइट पीपल. दे डिसाइडेड नॉट टू टेक एनी काइंड ऑफ रिवेंज. बदला लेने की कोशिश नहीं की ये काले लोग. ये कहा कि dear South Africans, maybe we are white, maybe we are black, maybe we come from different races, but we are human beings and we should treat every human beings like human beings. Clear? Well, you can say in that way that the black people were not like them. Okay, the black people were behaved in a much civilized manner than the white people. The behavior of the black people were much more civilized than that of the white people. You can say that, of course. Now, हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या हुआ था? हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कैसे बना? As the protests and struggles against apartheid increased, the black could no longer be kept under the control of the government. अब क्या हुआ? ये अफ्रीका की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इस तरह से बना. The white regime changed its policies, discriminatory laws पूरे खत्म हो गए. यहाँ पे और कोई discriminatory laws था ही नहीं. उसके बाद काले लोगों को भी उतना सम्मान दिया जाता था, वो सब कुछ दी जाती थी जो कि एक गोरे को मिलता था. वोटिंग करने की राइट्स मिली, हर तरह की राइट्स मिली काले लोगों को. पर ये ऐसे ही नहीं हुआ. बहुत सालों की आंदोलन के बाद ये सारी चीजें हुई. नेल्सन मंडेला को 28 साल रॉबिन आइलैंड के प्रिजन में रहना पड़ा. 1-2 साल नहीं, 28 साल. 28 long years Nelson Mandela had to spend in that Robben Island prison. Okay, the apartheid government came to an end on midnight 26th April 1994, paving the way to the formation of a multiracial government. पहले किस तरह की गवर्नमेंट थी स्टूडेंट्स? Yes, he was in Robben Island. पहले ये एक यूनिरेशियल गवर्नमेंट थी जहां पे सिर्फ एक ही रेस रहते थे. उसके बाद ये बन गया एक मल्टीरेशियल गवर्नमेंट जहां पे गोरे हो, काले हो, हर तरह की इंसान यहाँ से चैन से, अमन से रहता था. ठीक है. Now, Following the emergence of a new democracy in South Africa, the party that ruled through oppression and brutal killings and the party that led the freedom struggle sat together to draw up a common constitution. ये सारे लोग मिलके बैठ के एक कॉमन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लिखना शुरू कर दिया, ठीक है? Okay. The constitution gave it to its citizens the most extensive rights available in any country. ठीक है, सारे राइट्स ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इन लोगों को देने लगे, पूरे राइट्स जो कि व्हाइट लोगों की जो राइट्स थी, सारे राइट्स ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ ब्लैक पीपल को भी देने लगे. Now they started to treat the black people equal to the white people. Now they started to treat the black people equal to the white people. Clear? अब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जरूरत के बारे में आते हैं. अब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जरूरत के बारे में आते हैं. Why do we need a constitution? हमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जरूरत क्या है? Why do we need a constitution? Tell me. Why do we need a constitution? Every country drafts its own constitution. हर देश अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, अपनी संविधान बनाता है. You see, every civilized democracy has its own constitution. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या है? वो नियम है, वो कानून है जिसके आधार पे एक देश चलता है, उसे हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहते हैं. A constitution of a nation is the set of written laws accepted by people living together in a country. वो सारे written laws जो एक देश में जो लोग रहते हैं, वो मतलब एक written laws जिसके बिना पे एक देश चलेगा. अब तुम कहोगे कि हम तो एक डेमोक्रेसी में रहते हैं. We live in a democracy now. We will find out what we are going to do. Of course, no problem with that. But a country has to rule on a set of laws. कुछ लॉज के अनुसार एक देश को चलानी चाहिए. एक देश की जो चलते हैं, एक देश कुछ लॉज के हिसाब से चलनी चाहिए, राइट? उस लॉज के हिसाब से एक देश को चलनी चाहिए. अब वो लॉज क्या है? वो लॉज है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. दैट इज द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. इट स्पेसिफाइज हाउ अ गवर्नमेंट शुड कॉन्स्टिट्यूट. ये देखो, ये देश कैसे चलेगा, ये गवर्नमेंट कैसे इस देश को रूल करेगा, ये सारी चीजें इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा हुआ है. इट लेज डाउन लिमिट्स ऑन द पावर्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. एक गवर्नमेंट की कितनी क्षमता होगी, ये सारी चीजें इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा हुआ है. जैसे कि हमारे देश की संविधान इस तरह से यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. नाउ इट एक्सप्रेसेस द एस्पिरेशंस ऑफ द पीपल अबाउट क्रिएटिंग अ गुड सोसाइटी. अब हर देश चाहता है कि अपने देश में एक अच्छी सोसाइटी, लोग अमन से जिए, चैन से जिए, खुशहाली से जिए, राइट? अब इसके लिए कुछ गाइडलाइंस चाहिए, कुछ लॉज चाहिए, कुछ राइट्स चाहिए. द पीपल वुड बी नीडिंग सर्टेन राइट्स, right to equality, right to freedom. Okay, so these rights are being safeguarded by the constitution. These rights, these laws are written in this constitution. For example, if we talk about the right to freedom, it is written in Article 19. Yes, and according to the law of the constitution, every person is equal. Every person has the right to vote. Every adult who is above 18 has the right to vote. Clear? Very nice, students. Very good. Now, making of the Indian Constitution. हमारा देश का संविधान किस तरह से बना, इसका एक हिस्ट्री है, इसका एक कहानी है. देखो, 1927 की बात है. 1927 में एक इंसान आया ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट से, उसका नाम था साइमन. वो शुरू किया था साइमन कमीशन. साइमन कमीशन कुछ और नहीं था, एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ही था. साइमन कमीशन was nothing but a constitution with set of rules. Okay. Now, in the Simon Commission, they made a type of a constitution. एक constitution की तरह ये एक चीज उन लोगों ने बनाने की कोशिश की, जिसमें कोई भी हिंदुस्तानियों को लाया नहीं गया. एक भी हिंदुस्तानी नहीं लाया गया इस कमीशन. ठीक है, तो हिंदुस्तानियों ने बहुत गुस्सा हो गया कि अगर यार तुम मेरे देश की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना रहे हो और मैं नहीं हूँ इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में. नो इंडियन वर गिवन द चांस टू बी इन द साइमन कमीशन. सो व्हाट डिड द पीपल डू? साइमन कमीशन शुरू हुआ था 1927 में. ठीक है, 1927 में ये साइमन कमीशन आया था. उसके एक साल बाद मोतीलाल नेहरू ने इसके जवाब में एक नेहरू रिपोर्ट लिखा, अ टाइप ऑफ अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. पहली कोशिश बोल सकते हो हमारे देश की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाने की. ये मोतीलाल नेहरू कौन है स्टूडेंट्स? एनीवन? यस, कैन यू से हु वाज मोतीलाल नेहरू? किसी को ये जवाब है? मोतीलाल नेहरू कौन है स्टूडेंट्स? मोतीलाल नेहरू कौन है? कोई बोल सकता है मोतीलाल नेहरू कौन थे? एनीवन? कौन बोलेगा मुझे मोतीलाल नेहरू कौन थे? बोलो. यस, जवाहरलाल नेहरू के पिताजी थे मोतीलाल नेहरू. वेरी नाइस, वेरी नाइस. Yes. Now what happened? He drafted a constitution. He tried to draft a constitution, to be very precise. So the first draft of the constitution took place in 1928 and 1931, जहां पे मोतीलाल नेहरू एक तरह से ड्राफ्टिंग करना शुरू किया. ठीक है, ये एक जवाब था इन अंग्रेजों को कि हाँ, हम हिंदुस्तानी भी अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना सकते हैं. We Indian people are well capable of making our own constitution. We Indian people are well capable of making our own constitution. Participation in provincial legislatures helps Indians in forming a constitution. अब क्या हुआ? उससे कई साल बाद हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना. हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन किस दिन इफेक्ट में आया? Which is the day we celebrate the Republic Day? Anyone? हम रिपब्लिक डे किस दिन मनाते हैं? कोई बोल सकता है? हम रिपब्लिक डे कौन से दिन मनाते हैं? हम किस दिन जाके रिपब्लिक डे मनाते हैं? Come on, tell me. 26 जैन, वेरी नाइस. और ये किस साल हुआ था? पर पहली गणतंत्र दिवस. In which day did we become a republic finally? Finally हम किस दिन रिपब्लिक बने? 51 नहीं होगा. 51 नहीं होगा. फिर से सोचो. एक करेक्ट आंसर मिला है मुझे. एक करेक्ट आंसर मिला है मुझे. सब सोच के बताओ. Everyone think an answer. Not 51. 50. 1950. 26 Jan 1950. हमारी गणतंत्र दिवस हुआ. Okay, that day our constitution finally came into effect. That particular day our constitution finally came to effect. उसी दिन से हमारे देश में अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बन गई. और हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की ड्राफ्टिंग किसने की थी? इस इंसान ने हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की ड्राफ्टिंग की. He was a very great person. He himself faced certain discriminations in his life because he was from a lower caste. You see, discrimination was present in many countries. It was present in the United States of America, it was present in Africa, it was present in India as well. In India, there was a different type of discrimination. In India, there was discrimination on the basis of caste. Okay, higher caste, lower caste, untouchability, touchability. These types of discrimination was hugely prevalent in India back then. And this man, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Bhimrao Ambedkar, this man was himself a victim of this type of discrimination because he was from the lower caste. ये lower caste से थे, इसलिए इस इंसान को खुद discrimination झेलनी पड़ी. ठीक है, इस इंसान को खुद discrimination झेलनी पड़ी. Yes. तो इसने क्या किया? He became a very educated person. He became a great lawyer, and then he was the man who drafted the Indian Constitution. He was basically the chairman of the drafting committee of the Indian Constitution. Clear? Now, what happened? Leaders, हमारी Constitution जो draft किया गया था, इस Constitution को कहा जाता है a bag of borrowings. Now, why do we call our Constitution a bag of borrowings? किसी के पास जवाब है? Why do we call the Indian Constitution a bag of borrowings? Why? Why do we call the Indian Constitution a bag of borrowings? Tell me. Anyone? Why do we call the Constitution a bag of borrowings? Why do we call the Constitution a bag of borrowings? हम Constitution को एक bag of borrowing क्यों बोलते हैं? Why do we call the Indian Constitution a bag of borrowings? No. देखो, हम हमारी देश की Constitution को a bag of borrowings इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पे इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हर जगह की, हर देश की अच्छी चीजें ला गया है. Every good thing of the constitution, for example, social justice, okay, right to equality, okay, these things, all the great ideas from all the constitution have been collected in our constitution. You see, the founding fathers of Indian constitution were very clever people. They were very clever and wise people. When they made the constitution, they made sure that our constitution has everything, all the best quality things from all the other constitution. ठीक है, किसी constitution में fundamental rights है, किसी constitution में fundamental duties है, ठीक है, किसी जगह पे emergency के बारे में कुछ लिखा हुआ है. हर जगह की, हर constitution की अच्छी चीजें लाके अपनी constitution में भर के उन लोगों ने इस्तेमाल किया ताकि हमारे देश इन अच्छे विचारों में चल सके. क्योंकि हमारा mixture of laws taken from different countries. Yes, all the good values, ताकि हमारे देश अच्छे विचारों से चल सके. That our country is run by all the wise thoughts. Okay, हमारे देश की नींव इन अच्छे विचारों से रखे जाए. ठीक है, तो इसी तरह से हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना. Clear? Now let me show you something more interesting from this Geneo platform. Let me show you. Come on. Okay. All right. So, talking about the constitutional design, let me show you something very interesting. Okay, so let me show you something which is much more exciting about the Indian Constitution. Come on. Making of the Constitution. एक और चीज देख लेते हैं. ठीक है. Making of the Indian Constitution.
The Constitution of India came into effect on 26 January 1950 when India became a sovereign democratic republic.
The Constitution is a comprehensive document containing the set of rules according to which the government of a country runs.
It regulates the position and powers of three organs of the government: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary, and states how they are interrelated. It assumes special importance as it moderates relation between the government and the governed. Further, it protects the interest of citizens by restraining the government from taking arbitrary decisions. The aim of a constitution of a nation is to ensure smooth governance for the welfare of its citizens. The principle of the Constitution distinguish a constitutional or democratic government from that of an absolute monarchy or a dictatorship.
In the course of the freedom movement of India, the Cabinet Mission arrived in India in 1946 and put forward a set of proposals to meet the demands of the freedom fighters. One of the proposals was the setting up of a constituent assembly whose members were to be elected indirectly by the provincial legislative assemblies or lower house only. Elections to the provincial assembly were held in July 1946.
The princely states were represented by the members nominated by the rulers of these states.
The Constitutional Assembly of Undivided India consisted of 385 members, among them 292 elected and 93 nominated by the princely states. The Constitution of India was framed by the Constituent Assembly. The first sitting of the Constituent Assembly was held on December 9, 1946. It was held at the present Central Hall of the Parliament and was presided over by Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, the oldest sitting member of the Central Assembly.
Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected permanent chairman of the Constituent Assembly on December 11, 1946.
The Muslim League boycotted the Constituent Assembly to demand the creation of a separate state called Pakistan. Consequently, the members representing the territories which went to Pakistan withdrew from the Constituent Assembly of India. As a result, the membership of the Constituent Assembly of India stood at 299 against the original number of 385 members. Of these, 284 were actually present on November 26, 1949 and appended their signatures to the Constitution as finally passed.
Dr. Rajendra Prasad continued to be the permanent chairman of the Constituent Assembly of India.
Between December 9, 1946 and August 14, 1947, the Assembly held 5 sessions.
The wide-ranging membership of the Constituent Assembly gave representation to all shades of public opinion. The cabinet mission plan had ensured representation to only three categories: the general category, Muslim and Sikhs. The Congress leaders had ensured that other communities like Anglo-Indians, Indian Christians, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes got representation. The Anglo-Indians were represented by Mr. Frank Anthony and Mr. S.H. Prater, the Indian Christians by Dr. H.C. Mukherjee and Joseph D'Souza, and the Parsis by Dr. H.P. Modi. Though the Muslim League had boycotted the assembly, there were still two members, Zafar Imam and Muhammad Sadullah, who represented the Muslim community. The Sikhs were represented by Sardar Hukum Singh and Ujjal Singh. It can be said that the Constituent Assembly was truly national in character. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru proposed the Objectives Resolution on December 13, 1946, when the Constituent Assembly started the work of drafting the Constitution. The resolution highlighted the objectives and laid down the national goals. Free India will be nothing but a republic. The ideals of social, political, and economic democracy would be guaranteed to all people. The republic would grant fundamental rights to citizens. The state would safeguard the rights of minorities and backward classes.
The Objectives Resolution was passed by the Constituent Assembly on January 22, 1947.
Two independent states of India and Pakistan were created by the Indian Independence Act 1947 that recognized the existence of Constituent Assembly of India. This legal sanction enabled the Constituent Assembly to function after India's independence. The Assembly became a sovereign body. To carry on its work, it appointed 8 committees. Under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the drafting committee was set up on August 29, 1947, and was entrusted with the task of drafting the Constitution. The draft was discussed by the Constituent Assembly clause by clause since November 4, 1949. Thereafter, the draft underwent second reading, which was completed on October 17, 1949. It was followed by the third and final reading, which were completed on November 26, 1949.
It took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days for the Constituent Assembly to finally pass the Constitution.
The Constitution consisted of 395 articles and 8 schedules at the time of its signing. The clauses relating to citizenship and some others came into force immediately after the signing of the Constitution.
This was to enable persons displaced as a result of the partition to register themselves as Indian citizens.
The Constitution was adopted and passed by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. The Constitution as a whole came into force with effect from January 26, 1950. C. Rajagopalachari became the Governor General of Independent India. He replaced Lord Mountbatten. The Constituent Assembly became the Provisional Parliament until the new general election was held in 1951 and 1952. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was the President of the Constituent Assembly, took over as the President of the Indian Union.
Let us summarize what we've learned in this learning
So this is how the constitution was formed. Let me see what you've asked. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you understand how the constitution was drafted, how it was made. Now it's time for me to summarize the chapter. So what did we learn? We learned quite a lot about apartheid. We learned how the democratic constitution in South Africa was formed, giving rise to new constitution, how our constitution was made, and how India became a democracy, how the constitution of India was formed, and how basically Baba Saheb Ambedkar drafted the constitution, right? Well, to be very honest, the Congress Party was created by Alan Octavian Hume. His name was A.O. Hume, Alan Octavian Hume, and yes, he was a British. Okay. Now, so now let me ask you some questions. Tell me, students, in which year did the Constitution of the South African government was made? किस साल साउथ अफ्रीका की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना था? कौन सी साल था वो? कौन सी साल में साउथ अफ्रीका की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना था? Yes, 1996. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So, tell me, in which year was our constitution came to effect? किस साल हमारी constitution finally came to effect? In which year did our constitution finally come to effect? Indian constitution. In 1950, right? 1950 हमारा constitution, our constitution, Indian constitution की बात कर रहा हूँ. 1950, very good. Okay. So any more questions you have? It's time for me to wrap up the session. So this is the end of the question answer session. So please take a look at the last slide, students. This is the last slide. Please take a look at the last slide, students. It's time for me to wrap up the session. Thanks a lot for your concentration. Thanks a lot for your concentration, students. It's time for me to wrap up the session. It's time for me to tell you goodbye. Thanks a lot, students.